We are officially live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Katarina.
My name is Sabrina.
This is Welcome to Your Journey, a podcast about anything and everything you need to know to probably evolve and grow and
on this spiritual journey that we're on.
have fun in this life.
We're already at episode 10.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched any of them, you can check them out on our YouTube or on our Spotify.
And today's episode, we're talking about the in-between world, the stagnation, the void, the purgatory, the place in between where all the magic happens, right?
Where you don't see the magic with your eyes. You might not be feeling it either with your body, but it's there.
Yeah.
So, shall we begin?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
So I'll start talking because I've had clients reach out to me.
It's the reason why we did
That's
this
why we're
episode.
doing this,
Yes.
because a few clients reached out to me this morning. I'm in this, and she was laughing with me, and she was like, I'm in the stagnation, Sabrina. You understand what that means? And it's frustrating, right? So I'm like, I totally get it.
The human mind, though, is frustrating.
Yes. And the stagnation is like she said at the very beginning, it's the magic. It's where the magic happens. It's where the nothing happens. It's the neutral zone. It's a 0 point. And it's that place where we've got to a place, like me and her are a bit more advanced, because we're the only reason we're advanced is because we went in to the pain in the purgatory, into the heaven and into the hell and into the shit of it, because we've experienced all of the emotions.
And we still go in it.
And we still go it.
And we're still okay with it. Even though it's hard sometimes, even though we don't want to sometimes. And just to add on to everything that you were saying, it's the place where you get to choose. You get to choose to move and evolve into and stepping into the greatness that you are, to the truth that there's something inside you that's saying you're greater than this, right? Use your choice to step in to that version or to step back.
You're greater than the relationship.
The relationship with the old self, you mean?
Or no, just you're greater than the relationship you're in. You're greater than your job. You're greater than
but those are all
experiences that you're in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a byproduct to once you get into the void, because you get to choose. It's the choice, to me anyways, the way I see it, it's like the choice between the new chapter in your life, the new self, or the step backwards towards the old version of yourself, the old self, the old way of thinking, the old way of doing, the kind of heaven and hell that we see in purgatory. And the new relationship is the test, right? Staying in a relationship, that's the test. Are you going to stay in a relationship that you know is not good for you, that's not in your highest good? Or are you going to end it and move forward? But you need to be in that void sometimes. You need to be in that kind of in-between world, that stagnation.
But it's also like, I know a lot of you on this journey, like you're making strides, and you're like, oh, well, I made the decision, Sabrina or Katarina, we made the decision and we've moved forward. I've broken up, I've reached out to somebody, I've moved out of the job, I moved into a new job. Like you've done these like significant moves and pivotal moves in your life. Decisions. And then you said, okay, I did it. So, and then the ego is like, yeah, you did it. And now what? You're a loser. You're not enough. Like what's the next step? What are you going to do? And that's that stagnation moment.
That's a purgatory, yeah.
Where you're like, oh my God.
We're being challenged.
What now? What, like I said, a lot of people always look for, what's my purpose? Now what's my purpose? I made this huge decision in my mind. I asked this man out and I'm still waiting for an answer. I approached this, I spoke to this new job and they still haven't, all these things that are always in your mind, right? But can you just be quiet? Can you just allow whatever the answer is supposed to come is going to come, and allow it? And if it doesn't come, then see it as the opportunity that the point blank opportunity, right? It's an opportunity that perhaps is not exactly how you imagine it to be.
Can you enjoy that stillness? That is that oneness with self, but also that nothingness before the shift happens, before you get that big job and then you have to go working 24 hours or working on an excess speed, right? Can you enjoy that stagnation where it's the perfect moment to find that inner peace, right? find that peace within also the mind turmoil, the overthinking, why didn't he message me yet? Why didn't I get that job? Why didn't the job?
5 W's.
What do you
Who,
mean?
what, where, when, why? Why, how? Like what? Like, like as in the wise words of Depeche Mode. Anyone watching, enjoy the silence. Enjoy the silence. Go watch, look at that. But this is the stagnation. It's the quiet. It's that moment where you don't need to look outside yourself for something else. It's that moment that you don't need to wait for someone else to bring you an answer, to give you the direction, to give you that courage, to give you anything, because it's you. You have it all. But your soul wants you to be quiet. Like, we talked about this often in many things, like do nothing, say nothing. It's like, you're not here to change the world, right? Like, it's like, I saw a protest, a Palestine protest, like going through the streets of it was Sunday. I was like quiet. I just boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, they want to change. They want to try. I feel like we're not I'm going to go off topic, by the way.
That's right.
We're not here to change the world. We're here to move away from the world.
Elaborate.
Like, we're not here to, there's too much trying to change how people are and how people act and how people react. And it's like there's too much work being done within the matrix instead of realizing that just let it go. Release yourself from it so that you can move into something completely new. And that is a little bit challenging. I understand where it's change, it's transformation coming, but it's not about changing the old version of yourself, right? It's not about going back to your old version and changing it. No, it's about looking at your old version of yourself and saying, wow, I honor you. Wow, you chose really interestingly, Sabrina, but it's all good because now I'm going to leave you here and I'm moving to a next one. Right? Because I don't want to change Sabrina if the old version, I want something and you're like, I don't know.
No, I mean,
it's something new that came to my head right now. Just as those.
Well, no, it makes a lot of sense. It's instead of changing the old version, the old Sabrina, it's more like observing her and being like, oh, okay, I like this. I didn't like that. I honor every single decision, every single memory, every single moment, but I want to step into something new. So I can't take the old.
I can't take her at all.
Exactly. And with everything going on in the world, I feel like there's a lot of external wanting to change. Let's change the way people think, people see certain causes, but then how are you actually performing and being peace in your environment? How are you giving? How are you being kind to other people? How are you being considerate? How are you being generous? It's a lot of external, almost
distraction, chatter.
Exactly. Distractions, instead of looking at your environment and be like, well, where have I been lying? Where have I been untruthful? Where have I been deceitful? Where have I been corrupted? Where have I we all do it. It's part of the human nature, but we're supposed to learn from that as well. Or maybe not. Maybe we're just supposed to.
But not hold on to it.
Enjoy
where
and
have
just
I
be.
Huh? Right? You don't want to hold on to it too much.
No, exactly.
Yeah, because you want to go, where have I been corrupted? I see it, I observe it, I love it, I honor it, I release it.
And let it go.
Let it go. Exactly. And totally let it go. And that's that in-between moment that you find yourselves like, oh, but I need to find a reason, I need to understand. And it's like, no. Can you be okay with the detour that you're on right now? That you're at that crossroads moment? Can you be quiet?
Yeah. The non-action. Can you be okay with not acting and seeing what comes to you instead of going to it and trying to change everything, or just in the non-action, in the silence, in the stillness, where there's no need to actually do anything at that moment, which could be very uncomfortable because this whole world has been designed in getting distracted, doing this, go to work, go get the kids,
go travel.
Exactly.
Go do this, don't like waste a moment sitting and doing nothing, because then what do you like? It's not about sitting and doing. Like I told her, I said you can get up and you can go and you go to the park, and like I had a conversation with a squirrel. You can go talk to the trees. You can go do it, or you can look at the tree. Like you don't talk to them, like you can look at them. But it's just that that's the action. It's still an action that you're doing. You're still doing something, but you're filling your mind with light, like not light, but lightness. Like light-weighted energies, instead of always this, oh, but no. And why are you holding on, even attaching to a response from someone else, right? Like, let it go. Like you were brave enough to ask someone else, they haven't responded, let it go. What are you holding on to? Like, you're only going to make yourself crazy.
Admire, like, the fact that you did take that courage.
You were the lion.
That you actually face your own fears, and maybe that's what's the whole point of that interaction with this man or woman or person. Like, maybe that's what it was. It was just for you to get the courage to actually do something about the thoughts or the action that you want to take.
And like, a lot of people break up with people or like move away from friends, family, and they find themselves at a place of loneliness, and it's okay. But it's okay to be alone, right? Sometimes, like, we don't need always to be with people. Being alone is actually learning to know yourself a little bit more. You can learn all the little idiosyncrasies that come up in the day and how you reacted. Like, just even paying attention to that, like, just like even focusing on you, like literally focus on how you like said F-U-C-K when you hit your toe, instead of like, maybe I could have reacted different. Like, could do like things like this. Maybe I could react differently. Maybe I would have been worse. So that doesn't matter. But it's like changing the shift towards you. Not like always thinking, we're always like, oh, what is he thinking? And what is she thinking? And what if I go? And what if I do? And then it's all these like questions. Like, it's like purgatory, like she said. It's like that heaven and hell, that purgatory, where like, oh, if I do the right thing, then I will go to heaven. And if I don't, like, it's all the what is the right and what is the wrong kind of thing.
But also doing nothing, like being okay.
But doing nothing. But you have to get to that nothing. When you're someone who is like constantly in their minds, you can't just go to nothing. Or
you can. I mean,
if you can, and
sit down.
Kudos to you.
If you're able to,
like, there's like ways to diminish, to get to that point.
For sure. I mean, everybody's going to find that stillness. Everybody's going to find that way of nothingness or non-action, right? The idea is just like non-action. Once you're in that state, I mean, if everything is meant to distract us, everything is meant to just get us to do something just because we don't want to feel comfortable with being alone with ourselves. Or even like when we were talking before the episode, Sabrina was saying how, a lot of people are uncomfortable with silence. When you're talking with people, you're uncomfortable in being in the silence. So a lot of the times you get people just filling in the space, the in-between space, even the words in between the words, right? And a lot of times we don't even hear what the other person is saying because we're too focused on, oh my God, there's going to be silence. I need to fill it up with something. I need to talk and say something.
How many times have you been the hairdresser and you're trying to fill in the silence, right? Like, okay.
That's a great
and
example.
Then the next one is like, you're already thinking about the next question. You're like, oh, okay, he's going to answer. What's the next question?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And it's like, no, man.
Where you're not really like
engaged in yourself,
in that present moment. You're more, it's fear-based, right? Again, it's fear-based. And reading the Gene Keys, he says something really interesting about how our natural state is rebellion. So if this whole world is designed to be distracted, so what's more rebellious than doing nothing and just staying in that silence, in that stillness, at least for now, at least until you're really moved at a deeper level. And you'll know the difference. You'll know the difference between your mind trying to fill in the blanks and then your soul or your heart saying like filling in the blanks, because it feels bigger. There's less explanations if you really think about it. When it's your ego, when it's your mind, there's like so many explanations. Just like, oh, I should do this because of this, and this. Oh, I should answer this person like this because this. It's filled with, you're just rationalizing. So when it's soul level, it's very subtle. It's very quiet. It's a yes or no. A lot of the times, it's always go yes here or go there, and there is no explanation, and it's so hard.
There's no story too.
There's no story. There's no explanation.
Absolutely no story like attached to anything. It's not like, oh yeah, you need to do this because, oh my God, it's going to be an amazing time.
You're going to discover this, but the whole point is that you get surprised.
Like, oh yeah, go and go see for yourself, Sabrina. Like go. Like I always tell you guys, I always talk to my soul. I'm like, okay, so am I going to go for a walk? Yes. And I'm like, okay, like now, yes. Okay, so I go. And then I'm like, oh my God, like maybe nothing happens. Like I'm just like walking and I'll walk back and I come back and my ego's like, yo, what the fuck was that? Why did I go for the walk? And my soul's like, are you for real? Right? Like, maybe you avoided something here that you have no idea about. Like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the stagnation is like it's a common like emotion, I guess, or like not emotion. It's like a common, what is it? Stagnation is a feeling. It's not a feeling. It is a feeling, I guess. a state of being. The state of being that we often find ourselves in. We often find ourselves in this moment of like in between, this moment of because the human mind wants to create new projects, wants to do art, wants to run the marathon, wants to jump the thing, wants to travel all over the world, wants to do all the pictures for social media, wants to do everything. And your soul is like, you don't need to do any of that because you are great. And you are, the more silent you are, the more the remembrance comes out. The more your blueprints are emerging, your codes start to emerge. But you don't understand that because you're so used to doing, saying, being, even being meditative and being, it's still something, right? It's that art of, for me, the stagnation a lot is the art of just stepping away from the distractions. It's not even getting involved in anything. Just doing your thing. What do you want to do in the day? What are you doing? Right? Yesterday, I was literally doing nothing. Then I heard the protest and it like irritated my ears. I was like, I was such in a zone of nothing. And then all of a sudden I got up and I did a tarot reading for my nephew's birthday. And it was so much fun. I was like pulling cards for him. It was just fun. It was like fun storytelling time for me. And then I did nothing again. It was like, but I'm like not attached. I have no idea what's going on in the world. That's another thing with stagnation. Yeah. Do you know what's going on in the world? Kind of? Not really, right?
A little bit.
Sometimes
you hear it here and there. But once you start getting attached to that storyline, then again, it goes back to, if you can stay in that stillness, you'll start actually seeing the difference, one, between your ego and your soul. You'll start just differentiating it, and you'll actually be able to hear and connect and get to know yourself a little better.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you're sitting down and you can't sit down because you absolutely want that cup of coffee, is it because you're trying to distract yourself from yourself? Because now you're just faced with yourself. It's you, yourself, and you. So it's almost like, can you put a mirror, a real mirror in front of you, and just sit in front of that mirror and just be with you and see what comes up? What are the words that comes up? What are the memories that come up? What is it that your mind is trying to tell you about yourself? And then are you able to go into your body and just feel your body and just be like, okay, well, this is who I am right now. It's nothing. I don't feel anything, right? It's been a long time. Like, it's been a couple of weeks now where there's just no feelings. There's not much going on. And it's just to be okay with nothingness or the not much going on, because maybe next week is going to be rock and roll and I won't ever have this peace that I have right now. Why would I go and torture myself and disrespect myself and call myself names by being lazy and this, when I know that's not who I am? And I know that because I've been able to work and then sit and just enjoy
But also, in the wise words of Katarina, what's wrong with being lazy?
Yeah, exactly.
She'll always come up with that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
what's wrong
why
with it?
do we,
Who cares?
Why are we judging ourselves and everything we do? Everything is a judgment. Isn't that like peculiar that we judge everything about ourselves and then the world, and we're back in that loop? And this is where purgatory, I feel like it's the perfect analogy, because it's are you going to go into that new mindset? Are you going to go into that new version of yourself by just sitting in, like, you have that like moments where it's like you're going to go into the new, or you're going to go backwards and just stick with the old parts of yourself that don't even feel good.
And I'm going to bring this up because I know I just had this question come up in my head, so it could be telepathic from somebody else. But it's boring to do nothing, Sabrina. Like, yes, it's boring because your mind is telling you it's boring, right? Because normally you would be like researching or doing, like, you're filling your mind with distraction or with visions or words or art or whatever, photos or whatever it is. But it doesn't have to be boring, right? Like, it doesn't have me just sitting and doing nothing. Like we were saying, there's things to do. Like, you could like go through and view things. You can do things. It's not like you're just sitting and nothing. But the idea of nothingness is doing things and acting and being without like questions rolling through your head, without like smelling the freaking burning candle, smelling the candle, like that's you're observing the wax, you're observing the thing, like like taking time with every action.
Yeah,
I think that's important. Like looking at, like, I sat and I literally like dissected one of my crystals because I was like literally I was like, oh, wow, I was looking at all of it, and it's like it took an hour, and I was like, oh my god, that time flew. I didn't even see the time fly.
Yeah, it's like the art
because of the art of contemplation.
Yeah, the art of wands, or just the art of being with yourself, right? Being with things fully.
And it's funny because I don't feel the need to go out anymore, which is a really rare thing. Because Sabrina, before 2020, I was partying all the time. I was FOMO. I was like, yo, I gotta go out. I gotta go party. I gotta stay like 5 to 7. I was out everywhere. And now I'm like, no, I don't want to anymore. But that's me, right? Everybody's different. I just feel like I don't know. I'm really happy alone. Like, it's like funny.
Well, you're enjoying your own company now.
I enjoy my company.
Which before could be that we don't enjoy our own company. That's why we keep ourselves busy by calling this person,
right,
catching up with this person, going to this place, and
meeting new people, meeting all these people, traveling everywhere.
And it doesn't mean that you're not going to go into a phase where you're going to want to go meet new people. But is it coming from a state of fear and lack, or is it coming from a state of like, oh, I'm ready. I want to experience new things, to learn new things, right?
Or like we were talking over here, sorry, with the pain we wrote pain and love. Like pain, it's like easy. Like we were talking about this before we were actually on the screen. We're talking about how pain is like it's easy to be in pain. Right? It's easy to fall into suffering because this world has made it easy for us to feel pain and to be in the suffering and to feel like victims. This world almost propagated it. Yeah. It designed it to be like yes. And then it also gave us quick fixes. Take a Tylenol, take an aspirin. Go there, go do this, and quick, instead of actually feeling the pain.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty deep. It's like it's been designed
to
make pain
surface.
Be easy.
Easy
to fall into. Like, yeah, it's designed for pain to feel easy. Meanwhile, love, it's always like a hard thing.
Okay, but like Tinder, match all these Bumbles and all these Hulus, whatever, the Go Fish and all these, the Plenty of Fish, whatever it is, Go Fish. It's like that's easy love, right? So they created this. Let's get easy love for them. Let's get them easy. Let's get them what they always want. Pain a Tylenol. Love, I don't feel alone. Oh, Tinder, bing, bang, boom, satisfied, done. But no, why can't we experience the loneliness? Why can't we? Because what's wrong with the loneliness, right? Why can't we experience the headache? The headache will go away. Like I haven't taken a freaking aspirin in like I don't even know how long. I don't know, 4 or 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. It's like I just deal with the pain. I drink water, I sleep, and then I bitch a little bit, but then it's gone, right? So it's like, why can't we? It's there for a reason, right?
Yeah. The way our body communicates with us.
Like she was telling me last week that the fear is your liver.
The fear is the kidneys.
The fear is the kidneys, and the anger is the liver.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, my liver is hurting, but I must be angry about something. It's like just like becoming aware.
Yeah.
And then in that stagnation moment, isn't that the most beautiful thing? Is to become aware of yourself.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Being aware of yourself, communicating with yourself, and getting to know yourself at a deeper level in these in-between, especially in these in-between. In these in-between is the pivotal moment of growth.
Yeah.
It's like the cocooning. It's like the cocoon phase of the butterfly.
Yeah.
If some of you don't know, the actual caterpillar in the cocoon gets into mush. It mushes.
So uncomfortable.
It's probably the most uncomfortable thing the caterpillar, if it could feel anything, feels, because it was a beautiful caterpillar just minding its own business, decided to create this safe little environment, and then poof, it's in the mush.
And it grew these big wings within that thing. So the wings are all like inside, and it's like,
but it's still not ready to fly, right? It's still not ready to burst out, and it's not for nothing. It needs to be cocooned. You need to be in that in-between, that stagnation, doing nothing. What is the cocoon? What is the mush? What is that caterpillar doing? Nothing at that moment. It's not complaining. It's probably feeling a lot of things, unease, discomfort. Who knows? We're not in a caterpillar line. But I could just imagine if I would turn into mush. I'm like this little conscious little creature walking, and then all of a sudden I'm like nothing. You're literally like nothing if you think about it in the mush.
Yeah.
You're nothing. And then you can do one of two things. You can have your wings, because the wings going to grow automatically. You are growing your wings no matter what, whether you see them or not. However, to push through the cocoon, and this is very important because you cannot help a butterfly, you can't help them out of their cocoon, because then their wings are not strong enough to actually fly, because that's the pressure of them going through the actual cocoon creates the strength they need to actually use their wings and fly. So if you actually open it up for them, they'll die.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's I feel like it's a great way to kind of wrap up this episode of purgatory, because it's like, to grow and evolve, you need to be uncomfortable. You need to be okay with being uncomfortable before you can actually take that leap.
Yeah. You have to be okay with not knowing what's
It's where you learn to trust. Right?
Exactly. So we always say, and we'll continuously say it, but it truly is that. It's like being okay with not having an answer in front of your, like that you can't Google, what was what did I say? I saw something. Remember I saw that, I saw an episode yesterday. I'm watching Ginny and Georgia. Have you ever seen it? It's really funny. But what was it that I said?
You were talking about
if you can. Can I go get
if somebody can have your truth,
if someone is saying your truth, then it's not really your truth.
Yeah,
because that means you're like someone else is. If someone else is speaking your truth, then it's not your
probably
really
not
your
your
truth.
truth. Exactly.
Right. So it's
only
like
you have your truth.
Right. It's like Google doesn't have your truth.
No.
Like, how do I get rid of my headache? How do I find love? Google doesn't have that. Google's a machine that doesn't have it.
It takes like an accumulation of other people's experiences, but it's not your experience. It's not who you are. It's not what you need to experience to learn the things and to grow and to evolve. So yeah, this void that we're in, everybody goes through this void, is so important. And it's designed to teach us how to trust a little deeper.
And I want to compare it to
an answer.
There's an oracle card, a deck that I have. It's called Sacred Destiny by Denise Lynn. And in there, she had this card that I never understood before. I would look at it and like, what is this? But it's like a pelican, I believe. It's in like stuck in a swamp, right? And I believe that they do get stuck in swamps, the pelicans, I guess. I don't know. I think it happens in Georgia or something, South Carolina or something. Anyway, so you guys, Americans, are going to be like, yo, man, whatever. Anyways, okay. And it's called Stillness, the card. And it's just this pelican or whatever stuck in it. And I think about that a lot. And I always look at that card and I'm like, yes, that's the stagnation. The pelican seems happy. He's not unhappy. He's in this beautiful swamp and he's just observing, right? He's just stuck in it. He's going to eventually come out of it. The tide's going to change and he's going to eventually like loosen up. But he's not trying to get out, right? He's just like, okay, it is what it is. And it's like the animals have these instincts, these survival instincts, which the human have don't. They have the fight or flight. That is their instinct, right? But it's like, our instinct is always to like get out of the situation, never really experience the situation. You know, I was talking, I think I was talking about my nephew in his tarot reading. He had the lion, and the lion, like there's a cycle of life. There's a circle of life, right? And the lion will eat the antelope, and he will not feel shame about eating the antelope because that's his survival. He needed that to feed his family and protect his family, blah, 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 right? Why the human can never be okay with just, they always have to be doing something. They always have to be feeling something. They always have to be looking for something. They always have to be, why can't you just stay in it and experience it? Like the pelican. Get stuck in the mud and then say, oh, okay, what is around me right now that when I'm stuck in the mud? What am I observing? What am I like, enjoy it. Enjoy what you're seeing. Because that's what the message is anyways for you.
Yeah. Well, you make a good point too, because when you're stuck in the mud and you have those instincts where it's like, oh, the tide is going to change. Everything's going to be okay. It really comes back to this stillness of, if you just stay still, things are going to fall into place.
Exactly.
Right?
Instead of getting angry.
The fear base of our reality right now is that if you stand still, nothing is going to move forward. If you don't take action, if you don't do this, meanwhile, there's a big truth out there where it's, if you just, and there's so many like stories that are based on this notion of, if you just stand still, everything's going to fall into place, and all that work that you thought you had to do would be for waste, because it's supposed to go this way anyway. So you're putting all this effort into doing it this way out of fear. Again, it's out of fear, it's out of ego, it's out of overthinking, over-rationalizing, overly using your energy in this fear-based direction. Again, the heaven and hell, right? Or if you just stand still and you don't overdo it, and you just really do the actions that your intuition is guiding you towards, everything's going to fall into place. It's going to happen.
Exactly.
So all the effort, it's for almost nothing.
What she's saying is like, basically the human finds himself at the stagnation moment, and then the human gets fearful and then changes his whole destiny.
Trajectory. Doesn't change it, but makes it longer for nothing.
He takes a detour. And then because I should be doing this and everybody else is going for the dollar, everyone else is going for this, instead of your soul saying, no, man, you're stuck because you need to like just stay quiet. I've gotten the messages recently for myself about, that you're the eye of the storm, Sabrina. The starseed is the eye of the storm. And it makes sense, right? We're the stagnant eye we're the eye. The storm is all around it. And this is what shows you that this is the work, all the work culminating that you've been doing for millions of years. And now you're just standing in the tower moment or in the tornado, and everything else is going around you. And we need you to be stagnant. We need you to be just still, quiet,
the pillar,
calm.
Yeah.
Because if you're frightened and if you're always like looking for something else, if you need a partner with you because you're scared, you don't. You're alone. And your soul tribe will gather. You won't be alone. You'll be like,
be the pillar.
You're one of the pillars,
that
right?
puts, that uneasiness in at ease. So
Yeah.
it's like that pillar of light that everybody talks about. Being in the eye of the storm could completely shift the chaos within seconds.
By doing nothing.
Exactly.
Because
just by being
because by
present.
doing something, you've taken it in disarray. And now it has caused itself to to split off. The storm is split off into many different like swirls and wind storms instead of just being that one, right?
By thinking you need to do something, when in reality you just have to be that maybe soundboard, or just being still, not doing anything, so the people in front of you, if there is people, places, things, kind of settle in to their own. But sometimes they can't, because their anxiety is bouncing off of somebody else's anxiety, and then somebody else's anxiety, and then who's the pillar? Who's the one that grounds all that energy?
And it's like, one thing is interesting, because Katarina she's challenged a lot by what I'm going to say next. She's challenged by people not holding space for her, right? And we talk about, I'm bringing this up, it's okay.
Well, I mean,
we talk about this,
something that happened.
It's happened. And that's exactly that. You can't hold space for anybody if you're not still, right? But if you're always like thinking, doing, you can't hold space. And you're here to hold space as much as someone else is supposed to hold space for you. And the human doesn't really fully understand the holding space thing. I feel like it's like they're always like just projecting. I need answers. I need remedies. I need medication. I need this.
They're uncomfortable with the disease that they have within them. They're uncomfortable with the information that the body, mind, and spirit is trying to say to them. And instead of staying still and communicating, you can communicate with your body. Your body is alive. I was just telling this to my cousin. Your body is alive. Your body is cells that are communicating with each other, and all they're asking for is your attention sometimes. If your head hurts, maybe it's just because you need to sit down, drink some water, or not even do that. Just sit down and just communicate. It's like, hey, my head is hurting. You're hurting. What can I do for you? And see what comes up. We don't do that enough. We don't communicate with ourselves enough. We expect others to know ourselves better than we do, which in some cases, if a person's really present, maybe they will. But most of the time, most people aren't present around us too. They don't know themselves. So take it upon yourself to get to know yourself that much deeper, in that stagnation, in that in-between, because that's where the magic happens. That's when you get to learn about yourself and know yourself and decide, well, I don't want to take this anymore with me. I don't want to keep this cycle going on. Let's cut this cycle out by doing something different, by jumping forward, by going and heading towards heaven, right? Heaven is what you decide. Your decisions is what makes heaven and hell a lot of the times.
Yeah, trusting.
Yeah.
Like this weekend, I had my arm was fully burning. I had a burning arm. And then pain a little bit. And I looked it up and I was like, you have multiple sclerosis or leprosy or lupus. And I was like, no, man, I don't have that. So I talked to myself. I said, hey, cells, what the F is going on here? And they're like, yo, yeah, there's a lot of integration happening. Like I get messages like this. And it's like, just chill, And I also got a message, put cold compresses on your arm and, just sleep it, like let it go. And it went away, right? It's gone. I tell this to like a family member. They're like, oh my God, you should go get it checked, Sabrina. I'm like, I'm not going to get it checked because I trust myself. Because if I'm supposed to pass away right now, then that is my trajectory. And I got to be okay with that. But it's like funny. My ego was like, oh, isn't that a burning? Is it hard to, like I was like in my cells, like, are you for real right now? I'm like, I know. I know, right? So this is the stagnation. In the stagnation, you might feel all these things. Because your body's trying to tell you something. Yeah. Stop worrying. Just be.
Or if you can't stop worrying, can you just calm the mind a little more just for today? Or just for that minute? Or just for that hour? Or can you find tools? I love baths.
Yeah.
When I get into my head, now I don't have access to a bath yet, but once I do, I remember when I was in my apartment in Westmount, I would spend 2-3 hours in my bath.
Wow.
2-3 hours. Like when I would come back from work, or when I would have like this cycling going on, I would prepare, it was automatic. I would start my bath and I would stay in it, and I would allow my body to and emotions to come up to the surface so I could feel them.
And you weren't thinking in your bath?
Well, what would happen is that I would stay in my bath. I would be with myself, and I would tell my body, okay, I allow you to release whatever you need to release at this moment.
Nice.
And what would happen, I would get these influx of emotional releases. I would just, sometimes it would be triggered by a memory. Sometimes I would get a memory, and then the emotional attachment to that memory, which could be feeling guilt, feeling shame, feeling stupid, being afraid. I know one of my biggest fears, it was like facing my fears, basically. Like like literally when you're in the stagnation mode, when you're in this in-between mode, you're facing your fears. You're literally going head on instead of distracting yourself, which could be very uncomfortable and very scary, and sometimes very, very painful. So that's why the body a lot of the times doesn't even want to go there, because they're afraid that you can't handle it. And a lot of people might not. That's why your body will go to the extent that you can at that moment. And like you were saying in your weekly reading and in the beginning of the Let's Talk, you were saying how you might need more than just one purge. You might need more than just one cry. You might need more than, your body is going to go to the extent that you can at that very moment. And if you've been suppressing your pain and fears and your guilt and your shame for so long, your body might not even be able to sustain all of it at once. So it's to take these little tiny micro moments in the day, in this purgatory, in the stagnation, in this in-between, just to allow everything to come up to the surface, communicating, getting to know yourself a little better before you go and jump into that next relationship, jump into that next job, jump into all these things. Exactly, the quick fixes. Be the rebel.
Yeah, or
be
just
the rebel.
Be you. I don't think anyone is themselves 100%. Like if you were truly yourself, some of us would be walking around naked. Some of us would be like not caring about anything. And that is
the best feeling,
right? Most of us would be barefoot on the street. Like I go barefoot sometimes on the street, and people are like, "Oh my God, so dirty." I'm like, "Whatever, man. I'm gonna go home, wash my feet. Like, let's go." It's just like everybody has these rules and regulations of how life should be.
No one's honest with their emotions.
Fully honest with yourself.
Yeah. Fully honest with yourself by being fully honest with your emotions.
But the only way you can do it is if you're in this, like if you honor the in-between, if you honor the stagnation, the stagnating moments, if you honor these or the outbursts, like honor all your emotions.
And the reason why that is because you're actually giving yourself an opportunity to face the judgments that you have about yourself, face the fears that you have about yourself, which won't linger into the next conversations and won't linger into the attachments that you have of that one person or the illusions that we have of certain situations. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I forgot you. I was kind of bouncing it off what you were saying, but I don't remember what you were saying. So
honoring the emotions. Like honoring the experiences.
And you were saying that it's because you can only do it in the in-between, but it's because you're going to face these emotions dead on. So by doing that, you're actually discovering who you truly are, which is love, which is unconditional love.
That's it. Peace, unity. Pluto. Pluto, Pluto, the planet, is the acronym. Peace, love, unity, transformation, and oneness. How beautiful is that, people? That's who we are.
Who made that acronym?
I saw it once a long time ago with some spiritual leader, and I really liked it. I was like, they're like, this is the galactic people told me, and I'm like, whatever. I really liked it, so I was like, yo, that's cool. I love it. Because that's why it's the funniest thing. That little footnote. That's why the Pluto became a dwarf planet, right? Eventually, in this matrix world, they were like, Pluto, bullshit, because it's fucking peace and love. Anyways,
by confronting your chaos, because Pluto is the planet of, well, they don't consider it a planet, but I still consider it a planet. The planet of chaos, of destroying the old foundation, so we can build on a new solid foundation.
And it's with love.
Yeah.
Because love
It's like, we love you so much that we want you to grow. Let's destroy this.
Yeah.
So you can grow finally.
Yeah.
You can stop being in the stagnation
and
in
like
the past.
and like really honor your stagnation, because because this is how we grow. This is how we transform. That's how we transition into the new. This is how, like, this is it. Like, so when you're at this place, think about this podcast, share it to your friends so they can listen to this too, because it's very important. This podcast number 10, which is which is a new version of yourself coming online. This is how we need to
Well put. It's true. I didn't even realize that.
We need to, this is the
new beginning.
This is a point, because I don't know, we're moving towards neutrality. Okay, which is not fun for the human. If you think about it, I don't think it's fun, but but we're heading towards that, which is like, it's really being okay with the polarities in your life, right? It's being like,
not being triggered by them.
It's like unification of the polarities,
bringing them together,
like not being triggered by them. Exactly, right? Not like, and that's why I say protests and all these kinds of things in the world don't actually condone this peace and love. There's just more anger that's being put out into the field.
It's feeding something.
It's feeding the low vibration energy. You're fighting something that is.
And there's a time and place to fight. But right now, I feel like we're just feeding an old narrative. We're feeding something that, like, look at yourself. Where are you not like applying?
Because if you're protesting, you're fighting yourself. Right? We talked about it last week in the mirrors, right?
Yeah, it's true.
If you're protesting, you're angry, then you're angry at yourself. So
there's something about yourself.
Something you need to focus. That's what we're doing in the stagnation, is you're focusing. That's what you go inwards a little bit. You go, okay, you know, those 2 seconds I went out and I saw the protest, I was like, oh, and I actually sat there with it, and I'm like, okay.
And this could be any protest.
Whatever, anything. Like whatever
anything that you're fighting against. It's like, I get it. And I love the love, because underneath that anger, there's love. There's love and there's devotion for the people, places, and things and events that are happening, or else why would you get so angry, right? The anger is there to move things forward a lot of the times. But right now, it's just feeding it's feeding a narrative that nothing could change unless we destroy. And then again, destruction is good.
Yeah, but
destruction is a good thing.
The human, it's the avatar that changes.
This is
the world. We change the world.
The world.
So you have to find the peace within you. If the whole world found peace within themselves, the whole world would completely combust.
Something would shift.
It would combust. It would collapse. Because the matrix is built on fear. It's built in a low vibration.
And it's also to be very mindful if you're going to these protests with, what are your intentions going into these protests? Is it out of anger for everybody? Is it because you want one person or one side of the story to die so the other one could survive?
Yeah, think about that.
Like, that's not peace.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like it's very, anyways.
Yeah.
We're going off. To use words would be, like, you can't use words
counterintuitive
in these situations because there's just so much.
Because it all begins with you.
But at the end of the day,
it's all about you.
The world is a reflection of the collective conscious, and most of the collective conscious don't even know themselves, or else we wouldn't be at war with each other. We wouldn't be at war with ourselves. Us being at war with ourselves, not being able to actually sit still and be with ourselves and being okay with the sadness, the emotions, the happiness, anything that comes up to the surface. If we can't be that with ourselves, how can we be that with another nation, another people, others around us? We just can't. Mm-hmm. It's a mask. It's, again, we're playing into this illusion, these masks, and not being honest with ourselves. Going back to what you were saying, we need to start being honest with our emotions, honest with ourselves. If you don't like the person, tell them you don't like them. You don't have to be mean about it. It's just like, you know what? This is not.
It's not aligned.
It's not aligned. Exactly. It's not aligned.
Yeah. And be honest. That's authenticity.
Yeah.
Not playing the game, whatever the game is. I don't know what the game is. Like, it's just being what you, and it's very triggering, and that's what it is. And it's okay. That's not, like I always tell people, it's not on you. You're not here to accommodate everyone around you. Well, you because then you're just dishonoring your soul. So it's a big one. It's a big one. But so let's we can
stick with the stagnation, being okay with being in the void, and then maybe we'll continue this conversation next week. But I think that's a great way to just sum it up and end this podcast here. Be okay with silence. Be okay with yourself. Yeah. Be okay with listening to your body. Communicate with your body. You had a key takeaway.
I did. Are you ready to step into your greatness, or do you want to stay in the box?
Are you ready to actually face yourself?
Are you ready to really face your nothing?
Indeed. In between.
And are you ready to be nothing?
Does that bring up triggers?
That trigger? Like, you're nothing. Someone says you're nothing. Are you okay with that?
And if you're not, can you be okay with that? Can you be okay with just being nothing at this very moment, time and place?
You're not a starseed. You're not a worker. You're not a mother. You're not a father. You're not a child. You're not a daughter. You're not a sister. You're not a brother. You're not a freaking role.
You're not a good person. You're not a bad person.
You're not the God. You're not, maybe you're the devil, but you're not, you're not anything. You're just nothing.
Yeah. Can you be okay with that?
Can
you sit with that?
You sit with that.
And can you find compassion if you can't be okay with that? Right? There's the compassion. This is what unconditional love is stemmed from, is compassion, being okay with not being okay with the emotions that are coming up, whether you understand them or not, just accepting them for what they are, just energy and motion. So,
all right.
Like that.
Wow. Peace out. Peace and love.
It was lovely.
It was lovely.
It was lovely.
It was lovely.
And we'll see you next week.
It
kind of ties into
the
Saturdays,
the chariots,
because we're doing a tarot mini series for all those who don't know, and we're doing the chariot. We're going deep diving with the chariot, and it talks about the in-between world too.
Yeah, it does.
Making the decision between the two polarities. So
exactly.
Join us on Saturday for that.
All right.
All those interested.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.